right, people of the internet, we are back at it. It has been a whole 7 days since the last time we were here, and believe it or not, I'm still fucking heated. Nothing has changed. The eternal fire for horror burns in my soul. And before we get off to the next rant that I promised was going to be coming, we're going to get everybody introduced once again because DJ's late. Don't know what he did, don't know why. He's just in the ether. We'll find him eventually. But
Fucking
until
two
that day
weeks in a
comes, we're
row.
going to start off with Siegeland,
Hey, I'm here.
TheDravo,
What is good?
and the Dragonborn himself, Frazier. How you doing?
But I think DJ might be the guy that just dies first in a horror movie.
That's
Okay. All
Not
right.
touching that
moving
one
on.
with a
Moving on.
10-foot pole.
All right. Moving on. Mikey,
Anyways,
you said you had a rant
Sorry.
for us.
Yeah, let's talk about something completely unrelated. That'd be nice.
so Frazier brought up a game last time, Harry Potter, since we're going to be specific. And
Buzzard fucking kid, I am.
yeah, so in the old days, family-friendly games had a bad habit of absolutely dropping games that would be fun and wholesome and like enjoyable, and then out of nowhere they would hit you right in the mouth with something fucking horrifying for like literally no reason. It was way more like mature and like theme heavy than kids our age are probably ready for. Well, as much fun as those were and as much as I'm sure they scarred half of us,
Oh
the
yeah.
one in question in this Harry Potter game was arachnophobia, and it triggered a very distinct memory of mine because everyone keeps saying I'm afraid of spiders, and I'm like, guys, I'm 20 old years old. I was like in the 90s. There's a game
Early
I played.
90s.
Yeah, I was like 6, and everyone's like, "You still like that?" I'm like, "No, that was over 20 years ago. You need shit off." And like, "Oh, whatever," and I'll crush a Black Widow in my hand, and they're just like, "Okay, never mind." There is a game, and we're still sticking with the horror game theme, folks. We're not letting it go. I'm grouping onto this one for dear life. This game, I don't know if anybody's ever heard of it. It's an arcade game called Dark Escape 4D. Has anyone heard of this one?
No.
No.
Yes. Really?
This
That surprised
game,
me, actually.
I mean, me and you do weird stuff, so it doesn't surprise me
Incredibly.
that we're like the only ones who know this oddly specific niche thing.
Well, we just play party games.
That's true.
Moving on.
Oh god, that never gets old.
Wow.
Dark Escape 4D was an attraction game that got distributed to event like the arcades, Dave and Buster's, things like that. So if you're on a big arcade establishment, this game was specifically delivered to those. When it first came out, it was a very big deal because it is a 4D two-player arcade game. It plays like most arcade games where you climb into a booth, you sit in a cabinet, there's blinders so you can't see outside. You got your little gun, and then there's speakers all around you. It's a very intense experience. But that's where normal arcade games stop. Dark Escape 4D is balls to the walls. They have 3D screens, so the game is in full 3D. The surround sound is turned up to 11. The seats move and do all kinds of weird effects. There's air cannons hidden inside the arcade booth, so when you sit in it, you're getting hit with compressed air, and there's like streamers on fans behind your legs to make it feel like insects are crawling up your legs while you're playing. And when it first came out, they put big steel cages around it with dividers. So once you got in, it was pitch black. You could not see outside. And if there was a line or anything, they weren't allowed in. They waited their turn to get in. So all of this sets up for a really intense FPS experience. You're like, okay, I'll put in my quarters. It's like we're playing Jurassic Park. The guns have heart monitors built in. And if your heart rate spikes, the game will cut you off and politely ask you to leave before you have a panic attack. Because each level is based on a phobia. And it drives that home. I only got to play 4 of them, and they're like 16. It is insane. The 4 levels I played were arachnophobia, which is where this memory came from, in which you're crawling through an underground lab,
No.
and a 50-foot tarantula is punching through walls trying to pull you into the darkness. And It is insane. It's a
thanks.
whole chase scene and quick time events to try and get to your freedom, and when you get to the end, it's a final showdown with it. There is the graveyard, which is, Fear of Rot, not even Fear of the Dead, Fear of Rot, and there's just decrepit, horrible sludge monsters devouring everything in their path. We did Prison, which is Fear of the Dead. That one is fucked because if you envision zombie apocalypse, imagine that in a claustrophobic, and I mean just suffocating crawl space back to back to back for 30 minutes. A long level. And the last one we did was Fear the Dark. In the mines, you have no visibility. The entire thing is a quick time event where creatures are attacking you once they get in 3 feet. It is nonsense. This is one of the most insane, unreal horror games I've ever played. And I played with my jumpy ass cousin. It made it all the better. If you ever see this one in real life, try it. It's the best $1.50 you're ever gonna spend. But Adrian, do you remember this one? Because I know you've played it.
Yeah, of course I do. I was there when we first saw it. I think we were with that whole family of our cousins. And I
Mhm.
can't remember if we were at, where were we when that happened? It wasn't Dave and Buster's. Was it the pier?
Probably.
Probably.
Might have been the pier. Yeah, I remember seeing that for the first time and thinking, oh, that's really cool. Then I remember seeing the stuff and now I'm like, oh, that's kind of fucked up. I don't,
Dude, that game was intense.
yeah, that was a lot. I remember I just sat in the door and watched because you and him were gonna do it. I'm like, yeah, I'll get a feel for it before I give it a shot because I was like 10 or 12 at the time. I saw it and I'm like, yeah, no, I'm all right. I'm good. I don't even like the feeling of people touching me. I don't think I want to
You
play a
just nuked
shooter.
the fuck out of that game.
Yeah, I'm like, I don't think I want to play a shooter while it feels like things are crawling on my body. I'm good. Like, I'm not about that.
Dude, I love horror games. I love horror movies. The whole genre really speaks to me. That was such an intense experience. And you can watch the heart rate just climb and climb and climb. Unless you're me and the game thinks you're dead, but that's unrelated.
I had that happen to me one time.
You know, now
Is he
that
okay?
now that we're talking
Hmm?
about this, I think I have seen it at arcades, especially when I lived in Arizona in, in Phoenix. People out there that know the place know a place called Castles and Coasters, and it has this huge building with floors on floors of arcade games. And I think I remember seeing that specifically because of like the cage and the blinders and people and there's huge lines of people trying to get to it. I think that's why I never did it is because of the lines.
It was
Mm.
whoever designed this a fucking attraction, and they did it right, dude. It was such a good game. If I see it, I'm a grown man. I'm a very big grown man. I'm pushing little kids and shit out of the way and being like, "Go play skee
Ooh,
ball or some
bitch.
shit. We're gonna go play the fucking baddest game ever over here." Uh,
Uh,
oh, but that one delivered. And don't get me wrong, there's some home experiences that are really good, but something about the whole like part of being in an arcade and being in the event, it really like puts you on edge, especially if the game delivers and it's really good. At least in my opinion.
Yeah. No, the arcade had just a different atmosphere altogether.
uh, I remember the days where I just went to
Uh,
the arcade and spent quarters and quarters on House of the Dead.
Oh,
I did
dude,
the.
Dude.
when someone mixed up Resident Evil and House of the Dead last time, it kind of put me in a mood.
Yeah, I know it did. Been hearing about
Fuck.
Okay,
But House of the Dead, oh, classic, dude. One of my
classic.
favorite genres or franchises ever.
I love it. I love the pizzas. I loved it so much that I literally looked up games like it for VR and only found one. Bought it
Me
instantly,
too.
Oh,
and I did not. I did not regret my purchase.
I'm going to be joining you on that bandwagon very soon. I don't know if you remember a couple weeks ago, we were having a conversation about a good rig to get and everything to run it properly.
Yep.
I'm probably going to be doing that. I'm a fanboy of rail shooters, and when they bring a really cool horror element into it, I'm sold. Like I believe Frazier was there. I actually managed to track down one of the original House of the Dead toys at a
Oh
big convention.
yes,
And it was
yeah.
funny when I bought it. The guy's like, "Man, this should tell you how old it is. They used to be exclusively sold at Tower Records." And I'm like, "Fuck, that store went out of business when I was a child."
Yeah, I think I was surprised that you knew that.
It's a classic, bro. You can. It's crazy how many gamers you can go to and say, "What was your favorite House of the Dead?" And they won't think. They'll just be like 3, and they're like, "Wait, how the fuck did I know that?" I don't even remember there being more than one. But the House of the Dead sold me on probably like 15 years worth of gaming. I just found out there's one I haven't played because it's a Japan exclusive release called Scarlet Dawn.
Yeah.
It looks really
Ooh.
cool. The final boss looks like a Final Fantasy villain. It is so sick.
It really does.
Yeah, that's one I wish they put in the States, but probably never will, but I wish. I want to play it so badly.
Oh, we just gotta wait for this pandemic to end. Because one of the local conventions around here actually does this thing where they get arcade cabinets from all over the world and they'll set them up for people to just play for the whole weekend. And they actually, the price is down a little bit. Instead of being like $1, $2, they're like 50 cents at most. So if that comes back, there's a chance. It's not a guarantee, but there's a chance, and I'm staying optimistic for it.
No, but sticking to
go for
the horror genre, I'm gonna just veer off here and talk about
Please do. I'll be here all day.
like a psychological type of horror game that I played as a kid. That after beating it, it fucked me up like mentally. Like a couple of days after I beat it, just thinking about the ending and everything that happened in the game leading up to that point, it really fucked me up. I don't know if you ever played this, and I hope someone has. Condemned Criminal Origins.
Yes.
I've never played it, but it was very cool to watch.
That
So-
game fucked my head up days after I beat it. It's so suspenseful. The psychological horror is amazing. And fuck the mannequin level. I'll never play that again.
So
It just
real
sounds
quick note.
horrifying.
California at the time was not about games like that. They really didn't like it. So when Condemned came out, it was a super limited release.
You remember that?
You were lucky if each store got less than 10 copies.
I think ours had 2, and one of them was like busted.
It was a used
this-
copy somebody got and regretted and
was
traded
this
in
GameStop
immediately.
or was this sorry?
This is
yeah,
when it was
GameStop or
Hollywood Video, dude.
Video. Yeah, I was gonna
Hollywood
say.
Game
Video.
Game
Holy
crazy. That's what it's called.
shit.
Yeah,
It
Brandon.
was
So
the
we had
Games
a
Crazy as
yeah.
the Hollywood Video, my guy.
Yes.
That's how old it was.
Yeah,
And
it,
the batch
it
of
released
weirdos.
in it was like
Yes,
2000.
crazy.
fuckers.
Yeah, it was like a 2005 release. That's old.
Yep. Dude, I was
Jesus.
6.
It was
and
in
I
the end
still
times
remember.
before the dark days. Sorry, Adrian.
Before
please
the
talk about
Empire.
Oh, you're fine. We're all just talking over each other. It is what it is. But no,
Yeah,
like I said,
so
I was
passionate
6.
right there.
Yeah, I was 6, and I still remember this because, like I said, I know for a fact we had 2 copies at our Game Crazy, and one of them was busted. Like it was bad. And
Oh,
it's,
I think I
it's
remember
just so
that one.
crazy 'cause I remember
This
going
is when
in.
it was still in the mall. Holy shit!
No, I don't
Fuck,
remember that store.
I forgot we had a GameStop in the mall.
Oh, we
Adrian
did have
wasn't
GameStop
born
in the
yet,
mall, that's
dude.
true. Yeah, I wasn't
Shit,
born.
That's right. I
Adrian was
remember.
like 2.
If
At
that,
the
yeah.
oldest. Adrian was like 2.
God.
Yeah, no, at that Game Crazy, I remember every time we would go in, it would always that copy would always be there because no one would ever run it out. It would just sit there and collect dust until they closed.
Oh, but dude,
Yeah.
that game,
Real.
Condemned, was an amazing game. It is honestly one of the best psychological horrors I played in a long time.
There's
Could
not a
you do
lot of
me a
good
quick
ones out there
favor?
anymore.
Oh, was that?
Could you do me a quick favor and just break down the premise of Condemned? Because, like I said, at least where we're from, a lot of people haven't had a chance to try it.
Okay.
Yeah.
So,
Sorry.
and I'm also reading off of a website, a summary of it because it's been years since I played this, but I remember it's still to this day what it did to my mind mentally. But
Psycho mentally.
okay, so basically you're an FBI
That's
agent.
capital California.
not.
So
So-
you're an FBI agent who was framed of murder of two officers by this serial killer, and the premise is this FBI agent is filled with guilt and trying to investigate this serial killer, but also being framed. You're trying to, I guess, prove your innocence in a way. But along this game, you're experiencing like crazy shit. Like you're seeing mutated humans, you're seeing shadow creatures or just shadow people just out of nowhere, just sometimes popping up on your screen. This absolutely supernatural shit, and I think most of it or all of it's in your mind. Like your mind's just fucking with you. I don't remember exactly, but I know that a lot of the enemies were just absolutely creepy, and some of them even startling. Just coming at you out of nowhere, like some big dude with a real fucked up face. It would just come at you with a damn 2x4 trying to kill you just out of nowhere. And the ending of the game, I think there was multiple endings. I'm not too sure, but I know the one I got, it looked like my character was at the end of it just possessed by some sort of demon and ended up killing himself in the bathroom of some diner. But I think there was multiple endings, but this game was absolutely just fucked up. You literally have to play it multiple times to understand what's going on, because it is not a game that you understand the full story the first time you play it.
I imagine, especially when you were that young.
Oh yeah, I was
Yeah.
like 11, 12 years old when I picked this up at a GameStop. It was cheap. I didn't know what it was. It looked creepy. All it said was Xbox greatest hits, and it was cheap. And I'm like,
Yes. Yes.
yeah, you
Oh,
remember
the
those
days.
cases? Remember those
The
cases?
Oh, I have like
days.
3 of them.
Yeah, and picked it up. I was like, you know what? It's like $5. I'm going to pick this up because I was there
Dude.
originally for. I remember this clearly to buy a version of Time Splitters, the third one.
Oh God.
Oh,
The third one,
Yeah.
and I saw it there, and I was like, you know what? I have extra money. I'm gonna get this too. So I ended up walking out with 2 games, both of them
remember when you
fantastic.
can just do that?
Yeah, I remember that shit.
Oh man, why can't we
Don't
do
do
that
that to
anymore?
me. Don't give me
Dude.
hope.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh.
Seriously. Fuck.
But yeah, that was an amazing game. I recommend it for anyone that can get a copy of this or somehow emulate it on digital version, because it is definitely worth a playthrough.
Hell yeah, man. Dude, you gotta respect the classics. Like, for as much as technology's come an incredible distance in a very short amount of time, some of the stories that were written when we were kids are just not going to be beat. Anybody,
Yeah.
really.
Yeah, technology's come a long way. Story writers, some have not.
Yeah, I'm not
Yeah.
gonna get into that.
I
Did
am.
you
I'm
get
going
the
to put the
unnamed game from
MLP
last
fandom
episode?
on blast. Marketing to grown ass adults.
Yeah.
Okay,
Like,
that's a
Yeah.
horror thing in its own right, but we're gonna move on from that.
Seriously.
Hard right. Skirt.
Speaking of
Brandon,
which,
any other classics you want to dig up?
yes, Fatal Frame.
I was
Oh
about to
my
say
God.
that. Let's go.
I've never
Let's
heard
go.
anybody else say those words in person.
How? You live with me.
Oh, okay, first of all, other than us in this town, name 100 square mile radius within anywhere of us. Who talks about Fatal Frame?
Shut up.
So I thought.
Exactly.
Thought.
This game, 2001. I was 2 years old when this shit came out, man. But I remember playing this. I want to say, but probably like 2012 when I first got my a copy of this. I had a PlayStation 3 at the time, and it was on PlayStation 3. I got it, and honestly, I'm gonna be real. Out of the many horror games I played, whether it be gory, some monster related, or demons, stuff like that, all the horror movies I've watched, honestly, Ghosts still freaking me out to this day.
Ghosts are scary. You know what it is? Because me and Mikey were literally talking about this like yesterday. It's the same reason I didn't watch
food.
the movie La Llorona, because I would want to watch it with somebody who understands, but I wouldn't want to watch it with somebody who's going to tell me the 900 stories about her from like their youth. It's just one of those deeply ingrained like Hispanic culture things. We just we just have ghosts.
We
Like,
just don't fuck with ghosts.
Yeah,
yeah,
don't fuck
like
with ghosts.
it's
Life
just in
lesson.
our DNA. Don't fuck with ghosts. Like,
Like I can deal
Mm.
with all kinds of shit. From the shit of Silent Hill to Resident Evil and all these other types of shit that's out
yeah,
there. But when it comes to ghosts or just demons, stuff like that, like possession and all this, I don't fuck with it.
Right?
yeah, it's one of those things, man. It's just weird.
Can we get a possibly 2-minute Mikey interruption here?
Yeah, what's going on?
Go for it, because I got like a 10-minute one queued up. Let's go.
Hell yeah. Supernatural, ghosts, and especially asylum-based horror movies are my favorite, dude. I don't know what it is. Something about them grips me every single time. And I think it's because, like my brother stated, culturally speaking, it's something really taboo. It's things you don't mess with, you don't understand, and things you really like were raised to be afraid of for whatever reason people may have. It was something you don't fuck with.
Yeah, Fraser can't say the
And
same.
or did you call it yourself or Fraser? My mic freaked out.
I was about to say Fraser can't say the same.
No. um honestly, you know what? I'm not gonna get into who invented the Ouija board, but look it up. Uh the and look up what company's still making them as a children's toy. But
Yeah, that's the fuck. What the hell, by the way?
I dude, that's crazy shit to us. But they
It is
wouldn't
really
see it
weird,
that
yeah.
way. It's wild. So with all that out of it gets me and it really encapsulates me, but I know why it's something that I shouldn't be interested in. Like right now, if the three of us went to our grandma and say some shit about, oh, we were talking to a ghost the other day, could you imagine the freak out you would fucking get on the spot?
She'd go to my house and start blessing it.
So get the sage, get the plate and the egg.
The
Let's get this
sage,
rolling.
get the chicken.
Yeah, yeah.
Behead the chicken.
Audience, we're laughing, but this shit's real. This is what we gotta live with.
This thing.
Especially you got those real old school Latino grandparents. Yeah, that shit real.
That shit's real. You don't fuck with that. Cut away to my brother. I can't hold my shit together. I'm fucking crying over here.
Oh, we're cutting away to me now. Okay.
All right.
I'm gonna
Go
throw
on.
out. I'm gonna throw out one that everyone should know, and that's fear.
Fear. Yes, I never played
Fuck, how
them,
long
but
do we have
I.
for this topic? Letter? It's a
I-
full page.
Anyway.
I've never played them, but I've always wanted to.
What? Shit, sorry,
Okay.
that was loud.
The fuck?
Yeah, that was. I was just super glued my fingers together from you doing that. Can you not?
What the hell?
Adrian, go ahead and start us off. I'm gonna collect myself.
Anyways, I feel like even being young, and I might be screaming in the other room. Hold on. All right.
Shit.
Even being young and not being able to play fear because of being young and all that stuff, but watching it and especially growing up and checking on it later, and the fact that there's 3 of those suckers, it's crazy to see that for like. I feel like horror games really can't, especially shooter horror games, can't really encapsulate like the feeling that fear had anymore. I feel like it was really a good stepping stone of like the genre at the time. It was just good. Like it really just was good. Like there's not much more you can say about it. I don't know. It's that and another shoot. This is kind of a weird game as well. I don't know if anyone remembers Jericho from back in the day.
Oh, yep.
I've seen a little bit of gameplay. Never played it
Clive
myself.
Barker's Jericho, the game I just watched
Clive
100% speedrun to
Barker.
yesterday.
Clive Barker.
Yes.
Full speed.
Oh, dude.
Guys, I have a problem with horror.
Okay, dude. Same. First off, shout out to Clive Barker. The man is a legend in every aspect. Love his work,
Fucking living
dude.
legend. Even in music videos, he's a
Serious.
goddamn G.
Oh my
Yeah.
God. Like I said,
Sorry.
I fuck with Clive Barker stuff. I really do. I love the grittiness, the grimness, and all of that. None of that bothers me. I think it's fascinating. But ghosts, man, I don't like ghosts.
Yeah, we don't fuck with
It's
ghosts.
weird. Like I said, torture and like vast scenes of like moral degradation and like like oh man, all that stuff does not faze me. Do not like ghosts though. It's just a deep rooted thing.
Yeah, I mean,
Oh,
between the movies and the video games, literally, I've grown to resist any sort of like fear when it came to like the creepiest of monsters, the craziest of like killers and shit like that. But when it comes to ghosts, no matter what, I just really don't like it. I hate it.
it's just one of those things, man. We just get it.
But
Uh,
Mikey, your
Have you calmed
thoughts?
down?
I like the
Yeah,
hesitation in your voice there.
yeah. I was like, are you gonna hit us with another one?
Yeah. Did I just summon a curse?
The last drop has been drank. The floodgates have now been opened.
Oh, join. Better get back to gluing.
So, fear. And it blows my mind that as a Silent Hill fan, you didn't get into this franchise. As a Silent Hill and a Call of Duty fan, you didn't get into this franchise.
Yeah, I
That's a good
don't.
point.
Honestly, I don't know why. I think the only big reason I can say I never got into it is guys, I never found it in game stores. I had a hard time
Fair.
finding it, and then after a
Yeah.
while, I just kind of forgot and just gave up.
Yeah. Ours had a lot of fear too. It never had fear one.
Fear 1 and Fear 3 were very difficult to find. Fear 2, I could see why it wasn't. It was always in game stores because it was marketed like a shooter, and then when you got it, it fucked up your kids and they needed therapy. So I
And
could
you had to
see why it
explain
was
why
always
they're
traded in. So, audience, people of the cosmos, don't know what fear is, or if you're younger than if you were born after the year 2000, you probably don't know what it is. Fear is a classic horror shooter. It is fast paced, it is action. And it does take breaks from all of this to do very well set horror scenes. You follow the story of a little girl who was born with like Cthulhu level powers, but she was raised by mad scientists and corrupt politicians, and they did all these horrible things to her. So you play as soldiers, scientists, and eventually, and spoiler alert for a game that came out in 2006, her child, and you eventually fight your way through all of these stories where it's her lashing out against the world, and it goes over really dark, evil themes. The creatures that come from her nightmares are fucking terrifying. And when they get to the second and third game, the really creep Silent Hill ambience, I don't know why that was hard to say, is gone. They go for full shock value and then balls to the walls action where you're fighting like mechs with full mummified necrotic people melted into the circuitry, and you're blowing up these huge, like, I can't even describe them other than flesh tanks of people, and it is just unbelievable. And one of the craziest scenes in it is when you think you get a moment of reprieve, she escapes and a nuclear blast goes off, sending you and your team flying through the wreckage of a skyscraper. It is like insane in every sense of the word. It's such a good franchise. And
Really
it blows my mind how few people know about it these days. It is a true classic.
Yeah, especially when back in the day, you can just say it and everyone would know what you were talking about.
Mm-hmm. It was a hot topic for a long time because it was kind of marketed as a horror shooter, like more shooter than anything, and it really did scare the living hell out of a lot of people when it hit the shelves. No one knew he was ready for it. Someone change topic before I get lightheaded and pass out.
Forgot to breathe.
Okay.
How long was I going there?
Well,
Everything
actually-
went white for a minute.
A little bit.
Like 10 minutes, seriously.
Actually, let's
I don't even know.
let's go.
This is
Let's
some
continue
official
off
timekeeper.
of let's continue off of classic horror series here. Let's get into another shooter that was marketed as horror. Let's go into Dead Space.
Yes, I was about to say this.
Yeah.
Let's
Yes.
go.
I did
Oh,
actually.
man.
I did play this game.
Horror
Specifically,
unsettles me, guys.
specifically
I'm
1 and
serious.
2. 1 and 2 were a real horror shooters,
Yeah,
and
yeah,
3
1 and 2
was
were
more
real
of a shooter.
Yeah.
It was still really good, though.
It was
Tell me it's
good.
a
Pretty
dark
cool.
game.
No,
it was
great.
good. It was cool. It just wasn't horror. But I had my fun with it.
Actually, and I made a counter argument to that.
What was that?
So, lore
Sure.
nerd over here. I don't know why I really drown in these kind of topics. Dead Space 3 is a lot more action. It's a lot more fast paced. If you look into the lore and consequences of failure in Dead Space 3, the weight of the game increases a whole lot because you learn how effective the beacons are, what their purpose is, and the gravity hits you that much harder. Of if this isn't successful, you're essentially dooming whatever solar system you're in to be the next victim of whatever these beacons are, and the cycle endlessly continues. And I don't know, Dead Space lore is really cool, guys. If you just have played the games and have no idea what's going on, look it up. The context will put all of your memories in perspective very fast. Sorry, Brandon, continue on. I just had to get that out there.
No, I agree wholeheartedly, especially with the spin-off games. Like there was a game on Wii of all systems. I forget the name, but it was Dead Space something, but it was a spin-off game.
Oh yeah, huh?
It was a spin-off game, and it was basically a rail shooter, but it also held a lot of important lore and story that kind of became relevant. I believe it was in Dead Space 2 or 3. I don't remember, but it was on its own story. It had its own original characters. It wasn't Isaac Clarke, and it was just all around amazing, especially with the addition of in the game. It gave you access to an actual Dead Space comic book for you to read for yourself, which was a cool addition, a little nice thing you get for playing the game. You know, it was nice.
It is really cool, actually.
I'm on eBay. I'm ordering it right now.
Alrighty, I guess we're doing that later.
Good. Don't send it to me. I want to go with that shit.
Wait.
I found it. Dead Space Extraction.
There it is. Yeah, that's the name. I remember it now.
So to get it disc only, will run you about $40. Audience, I'll let you know with next week's review. I love rail shooters and horror. Not like I'm not gonna fucking buy it.
It is a fun time. I think I played through it like 4 times. But yeah, Dead Space is definitely one of those series of horrors that did it right. I will admit that was one of those very suspenseful, high octane shooters to where those enemies are coming right at you that don't seem to go down. So you have to shoot off their limbs to make them stop or slow down.
Dead Space did a really fantastic job of selling body horror with the concept of you can't just shoot it and it dies. You have to dismember this abomination to get it to stop moving.
Yeah.
Yeah, also really
They
quick.
definitely did.
Body horror. I think body horror is such a.
I know you
cool
do, and I never
horror.
fucking get that fascination considering you can't stand porous substances. That fucking blows my mind.
Well, that's an actual brain thing, so I can't really do it.
I know, but that's one of the horrible things about body horror. Have you ever seen the ones where they're infected with like parasites, like ringworm on steroids, and their skin opens up into massive lesions
Oh.
and pores?
I fucking love that. I think it's so cool.
Hate that shit so much. Why are you like this?
I don't know. I'm actually looking. Okay, so I was right. It's called. Oh my god, I was just vomiting. It's called trypophobia.
Pronounce it. Bullshit, it's not. I think it's longer than that.
No, it's called trypophobia.
Okay.
fear or disgust of closely packed holes. Like, I always so as a kid, like beehives and like wasp nests and stuff have always just like bothered me. It always made me like a little shaky, and I was like, oh, it's because it's bees and wasps don't want to, get bit or whatever. But when I remember I was in anatomy class and we were working with bones, and there was one bone that it was a knee, I believe, and it was completely porousy, and I actually almost vomited in class. And I learned that day that I actually have trypophobia. If I
Jesus.
look at if I look at something with like really, really, really tight, small holes, I get physically ill. My head spins and I want to vomit.
What?
Yeah, it's just a thing.
God.
Yeah, I don't know what it is.
Like, I couldn't picture that with you, Adrian, at all.
Well, like I said, it's not like a fear or anything. It's just like obviously it kind of develops into one because like I obviously want to
It's just
avoid shit like
kryptonite.
that. Yeah, but yeah, it's just one of those. Oh my god, I try to close the tab and it scroll down.
All right. Um, one,
That's something
Yeah,
right
one,
fun
there.
fact about me.
Yeah.
all right.
We're
That is
fucking
kind of
making
ironic
progress.
though.
Holy shit.
That is kind of ironic though. That yeah, I do have trypophobia, but I love body horror. That is kind of a good point. Huh?
It is fucking mind bending
That
to
is
me. That's like one of the worst parts of body horror to me.
Yeah,
that is something right there. That's a mix that I wasn't expecting.
yeah. Oh, sorry, I'm still nauseous. Give me. Okay. What's
but
up?
Intense.
moving on real quick, I'm just going to throw out a game that I recommend that people play if you have access to the Xbox Series X. I don't know if it's on PC or not. A horror game that came out this year, I do recommend anyone play it, is called The Medium. It is a psychological suspenseful horror. It is actually pretty good. It has a really creepy tone. I suggest it to anyone, especially that played the old Silent Hill games. It gives me a lot of Silent Hill vibes with it, and I would recommend that anyone to play that one.
Hell yeah, hell yeah, hell yeah, brother. I've fallen way too deep into the fandom of like horror gothic art style video games, and love hearing about new ones. I'm gonna look into that one myself because I have the capability to do so, and it's fantastic. But that is a fantastic closing note from the Brandon himself. So we're just gonna roll into a gentle goodbye from everybody, and any other closing notes when I get to your name, please let me know. Because we are overtime, folks. We get way too passionate about shit. This happens every single time. But
Yeah, it
our
does.
yeah, our final wind down for the evening. We'll just start at the bottom and hit the Dravo himself and see if he's got anything else to add on.
Keep an eye out for a horror game playthrough that is going to be starting out this month with me and the boys, and they're going to be fucking with me that entire playthrough.
Hell yeah, dude. I'm looking forward to it. And you know who's going to be the worst person in that group? Siegeland, how about yourself? Let's get a good evening from you.
Still on the verge of vomiting past me.
He did this to himself, ladies and gentlemen. Moving
He
on.
did.
I wanted to make sure I had the right word.
Yeah.
These jokes.
He's a joke.
Oh my god. Oh, on to Fraser. Let's get a closing note from you, my guy, before I start crying for real. Like, this episode's had me in tears. Get us out of here, go.
Fucking spiders, man. I'm fucking
Oh.
done.
And folks, thank you for bearing with us. We got way too excited for this kind of episode, and we might be doing a part 3. Like, we've got a lot of shit to cover. We wrote down like a page of 12 notes. We've got through 4. Until next time, this has been the SkillBased Minicast, and it has been a pleasure. Sure, by the time we release this, we'll be close to Halloween. See how much further we can push it.